Hey everybody, Hunter back again from Showtime Studios. We're going to do part number 60 of the build tutorial. And in this part here, we're going to go ahead and put a section of bare metal foil on just to show the technique that I'm using. I've been asked to do that. I'm not going to sit here and do the whole thing all the way around. As you've seen in the earlier videos, I already had this side pretty much finished up. Come on, camera, do something there. There we go. This side here is finished up, and we got that around to the back. And I also finished up and installed the windshield bare metal foil and the windshield in there. Not 100% happy with the windshield fit in this particular model. The glass is, as far as I'm concerned, way too thick. I could go in and sand all that down, but the way the glass is made, it's a lot of headaches to do that. I mean, it fits okay. It's not as great as I'd like to see it, but for a box stock model and for what we're doing on the tutorial, I think it'll work just fine. But like I say, that's one of the worst areas that I've seen so far is the actual windshield. But all we did was glue that in with some crystal clear, nothing special. And what we'll do is when I install the back glass here, I'll do a tutorial part on that just to show you how to put clear parts in or how I go about doing it. That'll be the same procedure that we used on the windshield. So we're going to go ahead and continue this piece of bare metal foil around here. Now you will notice there's a panel line right here, and you will notice when I laid this strip of bare metal foil, it came around and went on to this panel. Normally when I do that, I will show you how I go about, going back over this. I don't normally try to take this piece back up that's on this chrome strip here. Sometimes before I cut everything, I'll pull it right up to that line, just as the full piece that I put on initially, and I'll cut it right on the panel line and just start from panel line to panel line. But in this case here, I'm going to show you an easier way, and this is another thing if you need to fix a piece of bare metal foil. Say, for instance, you're running a piece of bare metal foil down through the side here, and you get to a point where the knife may slip and cut into it. You can pull that section up, leave this section down, and go ahead and start up here on the piece you already have down and continue with it. You don't need to actually try to get it back off the model. And it doesn't, you're not going to see it once you polish everything out. It blends in very well. So what we're going to do, basically the same steps that we did in the interior part on the chassis pan, or the floor pan, I should say. We're just going to cut this into strips, and it just needs to be, a little bit wider than the strip that you're doing. And of course, this is the factory edge over here. And what I like about the factory edge is you can bend that white paper, and you can get your fingers a hold of the end of it here, and you can pull that right off just like that, no problem whatsoever. And then what we're going to do, and this is going to be a little bit hard for me because normally I do bare metal foil closer to my lap with the component. So doing it up here on top of the workbench is something a little bit different, but we'll try it and see how this goes. Hopefully we won't make too many mistakes with it, but we shall see. We don't know yet. So I'm going to go ahead and lay that piece of bare metal foil down, and we're going to go ahead and just kind of drop it over here to the side right now. We're not going to press that down around the corner. And then all we're worried about right now is getting to that corner. So we've got it smoothed down. I'm going to take the Q-tip now. I'm going to go in with the Q-tip, and I'm just going to burnish it down all the way to that corner. And then we're going to let that set. We're going to go ahead and work this part in before we start to wrap it around the corner. And that just keeps your wrinkles and stuff like that down, and it'll get one piece into place real good so you don't have any issues there. All right, so we've got that burnished down now. The next thing I want to do is find something that I had here. Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can find my trusty little toothpick. I don't know where it went. I lost it. Where did it go? I do not see it. I didn't even check on that before I started the video. Okay, well, we're going to do this another way then. I've told you how I go about doing it, so we're just going to clip the end off of a toothpick. And we're just going to go ahead and make up a new one. And what I do with that is I just clip it off, make the toothpick a little bit more blunt than what it was originally. And then we're just going to roll the edge of that so that we have a point, but it's a nice rolled point and it doesn't dig into the bare metal foil. So basically you're looking for something in that neighborhood there. That's the point you're looking for. And then if I turn it around, this is a factory point. You can see how much more sharper that is. That's what you're not after. You want to round it off a little bit. So then we're going to take that and we're going to come in on the bottom side of our bare metal foil where it goes up against the underneath of the trim. And we're just going to lightly burnish that down. Now, if you remember when we did the prep work on this, we put a score line in here with the hobby knife. And right now I've only got the bottom side burnished down. I've got a brand new number 11 blade in the hobby knife. We're going to come in and we're going to drop that hobby knife right into that groove that we made with the hobby knife when we were doing our prep work. And then we're just going to slowly pull that along that groove. Just like that. And then what I want to do is I want to come over here to the panel line. And I want to go ahead and get the knife to go down through the panel line. And then on this side here, I want to cut the panel line. And do this very lightly because you don't want to scar the paint that's down in your panel line unless you're going back in and put a black wash in it. So be very light with that scoring of the blade when you go through the panel lines so that you don't cut the paint and pull it up out of there. Now what I'm doing now is just coming back in and I'm taking off this little bit of excess bare metal foil that went past the end. And now I'm going to get out the trusty tweezers, which you don't see a whole lot. Okay, we've got that piece pulled off. All right, that's good to go. So we've got the bottom piece cut now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and slip the hobby knife underneath of that. And we're going to lift that up just so we can get a hold of it. And we're going to go in with the tweezers and grab that excess. And we're going to slowly pull that off over to the panel line. Okay, and then after we get that done, we're going to go back in and we're going to smooth everything down with our Q-tip just to make sure that it's smoothed down and there's no wrinkles or anything in it. And then we'll take our rounded toothpick again, come in, just run right along that line, smooth everything down. That looks good. So now we're going to go ahead and move to the top and repeat that procedure. We're just going to run the toothpick along the top edge of the trim and burnish it down so you get a nice clean line. And if you have your line scored in there like we did during the prep work, that will push it down in there. And then you can just come along with your hobby knife and drop right straight into that line. And even with that line down on there, you want to make sure that you pull very slowly and stay in that groove. Don't cut too deep. Don't put too much pressure on the blade. We're going to come back in. We're going to lift up the edge of the bare metal foil. And I've got to cut it where it dropped down in this panel line just a little bit more. There we go. That should have got it. We'll find out. Okay, we've got that pulled up. Now we're going to go ahead and grab a hold of the excess, and we're going to pull that off over to this panel line. We're going to go back in with our Q-tip, burnish it down. Good to go with that. Everything's looking good so far. Now we're going to go ahead and go around this corner. And what we want to do is, we've already got this piece stuck down, but we haven't trimmed anything yet. We just want to take the bare metal foil and lift it up. And then we want to slowly stretch that around the corner. You don't want to put a whole lot of tension on it, but you want to stretch it so you get a nice clean line around the corner without any wrinkles on your chrome strip that you're doing. So you'll notice that the wrinkles are more up here toward the top. Let me see if I can get it to zoom in here. See the wrinkles at the top, but it's not on the chrome strip. The wrinkles are right here, but not on that raised part. That's what you're looking for. Just go in and burnish it down, just like we did before. Same procedure. That's what I was saying on a lot of my tutorials. Doing every procedure on a model really is kind of wasted time on a tutorial, because there's so many things that you're going to go back and repeat time and time again. So I can show you one part, and if you just mentally realize that, it's the same no matter what you're doing. It's just a different part of the model. And same thing with bare metal foil. I mean, once you get one part down, all the other parts are pretty much the same. There's no real big difference. Nothing really changes all that much. Same procedures, same tools. Okay, we've got that cut. We're going to fold up the end, grab a hold of it with the tweezers. And you got to love it when that happens, when it tears in the middle. But no big deal. You just come back in, get back underneath of it with the knife again. Lift it up. Come back in with the tweezers. Hopefully get a hold of it. Maybe. There we go. Now we got a hold of it. And we're just going to slowly pull that off over to that panel line. We're going to come back in again and burnish that edge down. All right, now we're going to flip it over, and we're going to come in with our toothpick and burnish down the bottom edge real well. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now we're going to come in and cut the bottom edge. Now we've already got it cut right across the bottom here. We're just going to drop back in that same line and continue around the corner. Slow, steady pull. Lift up the end. Slowly pull it off with the tweezers. And you guessed it, go back in and burnish it down with the Q-tip. Just like that. And the other thing you can do is go in once you get that part done and make sure that you push it down in the panel line and get that nice separation there so you don't have any bare metal foil in your panel line area. That's all looking pretty good. Looking real good, actually. And you cannot see where we started and stopped the bare metal foil at all. It's a nice clean line all the way around there, and you can't see where that piece is overlapping the other piece. So then you just continue. You just start a piece right here, continue down this side, same procedures, same technique, everything stays the same, all the same tools. So that's basically all there is to applying bare metal foil for the most part. Like I say, everything stays the same except on, there's certain little oddball things you'll run into that the procedure has to change a little bit. But for the most part, running trim on a model car, around the windshield, around any of the windows, the side trim, any of that kind of stuff, it's all the same procedure. Just a steady hand and taking your time and just working a section at a time, and you should be good to go. So if you have any questions or concerns on bare metal foil, leave me a comment on the video. I'll be more glad to help you out with that, or give you some tips, or help you if I can. So that's all we've got for this one. Like always, I thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.